Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'll be discussing about the topic cardiac cycle. This is from the chapter Body Fluids and Circulation from class 11 biology. Let's start with today's topic. The sequential event in the heart which is cyclically repeated is called the cardiac cycle. This cardiac cycle consists of joint diastole, atrial systole and ventricular systole. Let's discuss about these three different phases of the cardiac cycle with the help of a diagram. Here, joint diastole is nothing but all the four chambers of the heart are relaxed, and this is for about 0.4 seconds. After this, the next one is atrial systole. This is nothing but atria of the heart contract, and this is for about 0.1 second. And the next phase is ventricular systole. In this, ventricles get contracted, and this is for about 0.3 seconds. So, in a cardiac cycle, these three phases they occur repeatedly in a cyclic manner, and this is called cardiac cycle, and the duration of each cardiac cycle is 0.8 seconds. Okay? Now, after this, let's discuss about these phases in detail. Joint diastole. Four chambers of heart are in a relaxed state. Here, tricuspid and bicuspid valves are opened. Tricuspid valve is between right atrium and right ventricle. Bicuspid valve is between left atrium and left ventricle. So, during joint diastole, these two valves are opened so that blood flows into the left and the right ventricles respectively through the left and right atria during joint diastole. Here, the semilunar valves are closed at this stage. Semilunar valves are present at the openings of aorta and pulmonary artery. So, semilunar valves are closed and atrioventricular valves called tricuspid valve and bicuspid valves are open so that the blood is flowing into the ventricles through atria during joint diastole. After this, the next phase, atrial systole. The SAN now generates an action potential. SAN is nothing but sinoatrial node. Sinoatrial node is present in upper right corner of the right atrium, and this SAN generates an action potential which stimulates both the atria to undergo a simultaneous contraction. This is called atrial systole, and this increases the flow of blood into the ventricles by about 30%. Very important for your exams. So, atrial systole, because of the action potential generated by SAN, increases the flow of blood into the ventricles by about 30%. Okay? After this, ventricular systole. The action potential is conducted to the ventricular side by the AVN and AV bundle. Here, AVN is nothing but atrioventricular node. It is located in the lower left corner of the right atrium. So, the action potential that is generated by SA node is conducted to the ventricular side by the AV node and AV bundle. Okay? The bundle of His transmits it through the entire ventricular musculature. Here, the His is the name of the scientist. He is a Swiss cardiologist and anatomist. So, the bundle of His transmits the action potential through the entire ventricular musculature, and because of this, ventricular muscles contract. This is called ventricular systole. Okay? Now, ventricular systole causes the closure of tricuspid and bicuspid valves. Tricuspid, bicuspid valves are atrioventricular valves, so that when these valves are closed, the blood do not flow back into atria. Okay? As the ventricular pressure increases further, the semilunar valves are forced open. These semilunar valves are at the openings of pulmonary artery and aorta. So, during ventricular systole, the semilunar valves are forced open. This allows the blood in the ventricles to flow through these vessels into the circulatory pathways. It means the blood is flowing from the ventricles into aorta and pulmonary arteries, and they are circulated to different parts of the body. Aorta is carrying the blood to all parts of the body, and pulmonary artery is carrying the blood to lungs. So, these are called systemic circulation and pulmonary circulation. Okay? So, these are the circulatory pathways. After this, the next phase, again, joint diastole. Okay? The ventricles now relax and the ventricular pressure falls. And due to this, the semilunar valves are closed, so that the blood do not flow back into ventricles. Okay? And the tricuspid and the bicuspid valves are pushed open. The blood now once again moves freely to the ventricles from atria. Okay? The ventricles and atria are now again in relaxed state as earlier. This is joint diastole. So the process continues. The three phases, joint diastole, atrial systole and ventricular systole, are occurring in a cyclic manner, and this is how the cardiac cycle is functional in human beings. After this, now here are some important concepts in connection with cardiac cycle. One of that is stroke volume. 72 cardiac cycles are performed per minute. Okay? So, duration of each cardiac cycle is 0.8 seconds. Very important. Okay? During a cardiac cycle, each ventricle pumps out approximately 70 ml of blood, which is called the stroke volume. Very, very important for your exams. I repeat this once again. During a cardiac cycle, each ventricle pumps out approximately 70 ml of blood, which is called the stroke volume. Okay, now moving to the next. One more important concept is cardiac output. Okay, the stroke volume multiplied by the heart rate gives the cardiac output. Very important again. Okay, the stroke volume multiplied by the heart rate gives the cardiac output. It can be defined as the volume of blood pumped out by each ventricle per minute is cardiac output. It averages 5000 ml or 5 liters in a healthy individual. Okay? Now, moving to the next. One more important concept from this, heart sounds. During each cardiac cycle, two prominent sounds are produced, which can be easily heard through a stethoscope. Yes, every doctor use stethoscope for hearing the heart sounds. Okay, so here during each cardiac cycle, two prominent sounds are produced, which can be easily heard through a stethoscope. Here, the first heart sound, lub, is associated with the closure of the tricuspid and bicuspid valves. So these valves are between atria and ventricles. So the first heart sound, lub, is produced because of the closure of tricuspid and bicuspid valves. And the second heart sound, dub, is associated with the closure of semilunar valves that guard the openings of aorta and pulmonary artery. Okay, so this is about the heart sounds and have a lot of significance in clinical diagnostic. Okay, this is all about today's session. Let's discuss some important questions based on the topics that we have discussed so far. The first question, the SAN generates an action potential which stimulates both the atria to undergo a simultaneous contraction. This increases the flow of blood into the ventricles by about how much percentage? The answer is 30%. Okay, now moving to the next. The stroke volume multiplied by the heart rate is called. Answer is cardiac output. So the stroke volume multiplied by the heart rate is called cardiac output. The next question. The second heart sound, dub, is associated with the closure of the. Answer is semilunar valves. So when the semilunar valves are closed, the second heart sound, dub, is produced. And now the last question. During a cardiac cycle, each ventricle pumps out approximately dash of blood, which is called the stroke volume. Answer is 70 ml. So during a cardiac cycle, each ventricle pumps out approximately 70 ml of blood, and this is called stroke volume. This is all about today's session. If you are new to my channel, subscribe for more videos. I'll be back with another session. Have a great day. Thank you all.